To be honest, I don't know what type of video this is. I kind of just wanted to talk real quick about it. So it's weird, right? I feel like ever since I've been on my spiritual journey, I've kind of I've kind of been in this weird spot where back before I was like spiritual, or back before I was like um, aware of everything. Like I had my wool was taken off my eyes. I stopped drinking the Kool-Aid. Like I felt like whenever I would have conversations with people, I wouldn't know what to say. Like when I was going through my socially awkward phase where I didn't really know how to talk to anybody. I didn't know how to have a conversation with anybody, how to keep conversation going. It used to be something I struggled with a lot actually. Um, and then there was an intermediary point where like this middle point where I got really good at having conversation with people, and I kind of like felt like I came into myself. And then when I became spiritual, because a lot of people who talk to a lot of people realize no that shit drains you. If you have a conversation with everybody, that shit kind of just drains you to be a people person, unless you're like a Leo or some shit. But that shit probably drains them too. Um, yeah, I feel like ever since I've been on my spiritual journey, it's not that I have an issue with having conversation with people, because I could go up and talk to anybody at this point. But it's more so that I don't really, how could I put it? I don't want to put it's because I feel like it's dependent on the person. If I just go up and have a conversation with anybody at this point, the stuff that I want to talk about is just not stuff that the average person is going to. And I'm not saying this like conceitedly. One, they're not going to appreciate it, and two, they're not really probably not going to care. So, and then I like talking about the shit that I think about is just not the stuff that the average person thinks about at this point. Um, or the stuff that the average person just don't care about, and that's fine. I'm not saying you have to care about it. I don't really care regardless. But I've found that like oftentimes now, especially, I'll find myself not talking as much in certain situations. I'll talk, and I'll banter and things like that. But like as far as just like starting random conversation with people, I find that I don't really do that as often as I used to. I just don't care to. Cause like I don't like talking about shine shit. Like I don't like talking about like sports. I don't give a fuck. That's just fake. I don't like talking about celebrities, puppets. Like I don't care. Like I don't really care about none of that shit. I could maybe talk about like video games because that shit is just it is what it is. But even then, most people don't really talk about video games, you know. And then it's like there's shit to talk about, but I just don't really care to talk about it because none of that shit matters. Like the shit that I'm thinking about, the shit that I prioritize, it's just not shit that people. It's just not stuff that people care about. So I don't know. I don't know if that's something that it just kind of you just. I'm not sure if that's something you just kind of get used to as you become more spiritually aware, or I'm not really sure if it's something that you just kind of maybe come out of as you kind of learn more about yourself as you go inward more. You just kind of learn more about yourself, um, things like that. But I kind of just view it as protecting my energy in a way. I just kind of view it as I don't always have to have something to say, and it's not necessarily that no response is a response, but it's just like because at the same time I also have to be careful about what I say because there's certain things that you can say, and it's not that it matters whether or not it red pills somebody. It's when you say certain things to certain people who aren't ready for the information that you're giving them, you it's like jumping from like if this person's on chapter 3 of a book and you're on chapter like 12, and you go to chapter like 8, they're not going to know what you're talking about because they're still back on this earlier chapter. So you're skipping like 5, 6 chapters. Meanwhile, this person is way back here. So they're either gonna not believe you, or they're gonna get defensive, or they're gonna take offense to it, or some other shit that you just really don't want to deal with. Because those people still live in the matrix, and I mean, that is what it is at this point. But yeah, I don't know. The main point of what I was trying to say is I just feel like I've been kind of drifting away from not necessarily having conversation with people, but more so I've been I've been being more comfortable being quiet around people, but not in an uncomfortable way. Like I'll talk when I need to talk, and then otherwise I'll be silent either because there's just something I don't want to I just don't care to speak about the things that they're talking about, or there's just nothing constructive that a conversation would that this or that person would have that I feel like would be beneficial. So I don't know. I feel like for anybody who's out there who has gone through something similar, or has struggled with social awkwardness, or struggling with conversation in the past, it definitely gets easier. Um, Even now, I don't struggle with conversation. I just don't care to conversate with people who don't care or appreciate the things that I'm saying, not in like a conceited way. But it gets better. It gets easier. Um, and like I said, I don't know if this is just a side effect of kind of becoming spiritual. I don't really know, like becoming like woke, if you want to call it that. Um, I don't know if this is just a byproduct. I don't know if this is just something that it's just like a phase that you go through on your journey. I'm not really sure. Um, but I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I think everything's about perception, and I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. Um, 'Cause it's about how you move forward, right? At the end of the day, but it gets easier. You get better at it. Um, so just keep on doing what you're doing. Just keep on trying, and yeah, I don't know. That's really all I got. Stay powerful, Vapai. Y'all, I'm out. And the part I wanted to add that I forgot: if you feel like you can't have conversation with somebody, don't let that get you down. Like, don't let that bother you to the extent, like, because you're all you need at the end of the day. I'm perfectly comfortable. At this point, I'm more comfortable by myself than when I'm with other people, and I feel that's fine. Because at the end of the day, you're what you got. So don't let don't let the fact that the majority of people don't care about what you have to say, or the fact that you feel like you can't really talk to anybody about the things that you care about, don't let that don't let that bother you. Because realistically, if you really wanted to talk to people about these things, you could. I can. Um, you gotta you gotta ask questions that bring up these topics. You can talk to people about these topics, and you can teach people about these topics. You can wake people up, sure. Um, but it's all about how much energy you're willing to expend to do that. And I think I'm at this point now, especially like in the winter, less sun, um, lower energy overall. Like I just don't have the energy to expend at this point. So I don't know. That's my piece on it. All right, bye bye, y'all. I'm out.